January 20th, 2024. Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Al. Today's morning show is going to be dedicated to first-time analysis of the 13-race Fairgrounds card, Lecomte Day Stakes card, and huge card today. 6 stakes races. Lecomte Stakes is a worth 20 points to the winner, Kentucky Derby qualifying race. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to take a look at each of the races for the first time. I don't see the scratches, of course. It's just about, I guess it's about 2:45 in the morning. So I'm out here early prepping for today's card and today's show, live Fairgrounds horse racing picks, where we have analysis, picks, plays, open discussion, open chat for every single race. So what I'm going to be doing here is going through the cards, starting at the first race and breaking it down. You're going to see for the first race, exactly what I'm looking at when I see a race PPs for the first time, and how I work with it and how I come up with my contenders and how I set them up. And then after the first race, I will be pausing the recording. I'll preface by saying this is a pre-recording because a lot of the viewing audience, the big chunk, is in the United States or across the United States, and most of you that watch the show regularly probably are in bed right now. Not me though. All horse racing all the time. I'm on it. I'm not horsing around. When I do these live shows, I prep beforehand and I have an idea of the card, a good idea of the card. I've been through it at least a couple of times, first time through, and then after the scratches, take another look at it. And then the third time where I'm looking at the card again as the card unfolds, make adjustments from there, see what the fair odds are, if certain horses, what the payouts are, and then come up with my final picks. But we've got to have a starting point. And that's what I'm creating in this show. So we'll start looking at the first race. And what I do here when I break down these races, I start off with a note sheet, right? And I have an idea of what I'm doing as far as what I'm looking for. A basic note sheet, on the left, I have the scratches, so I don't have that there. The first thing I look for is the pace of the race. As the saying goes, pace makes the race. So I have my early speed horses on the right side over there. And in order, who I like is the top speed, maybe secondary speed or third speed. And then after looking at the pace, then I look at the numbers and the jockey trainer information. And I put my win contenders in order, who I like best to win, who I like second best to win, who I like third best to win, what have you, down the line. That doesn't mean because I like one horse, the first best, the second horse, the second one I list is the second best horse to win. That's to win. It doesn't mean I'm going to box them for the exacta because they might have the same running style and one of them cancels each other out. But that really comes in handy, the win contenders for multi-race plays. So I got my notes ready. We'll start looking at the first race. I'll break that one down as I see it, as I'm, in real time, basically, what I'm looking at, what goes into it. And then after that race is over, what I'm going to do is pause the video. And then I'm going to look over the second race and I'll give you a timestamp, what time I'm back, and give you my breakdown after my early analysis, so you don't have to see me looking at it all the way through until I, land on who I like. So save you that time. But I will do that for the first race, so you see what goes into each race. And some races take longer than others, and you'll see that by the timestamp. So now let's get started on the first race here. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope your weekend's off to a terrific start. We have the coffee here early. And right now, to give you an exact timestamp, it's 2:50 a.m. And we have Dunkin' Donuts Original Blend, the coffee of the go-getters in the morning. I turned in early. I got about 6 hours sleep. So I'm good to go here, folks, and fired up about this card. Okay, so let's take a look at the first race. First race at Fairgrounds, we got a Okay, 6 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. Purse 60,000. What a card. No cheap races on this card. And we do have 9 entries in the first race. And I'm looking at I'm trying to get an idea of the pace here and who has run quick early. And I'll tell you what, they're not messing around here. They're putting Luis Saez is in town from the Gulfstream Park. He's come here for the races today. Joel Rosario is going to be here for the big races. No sign of the Ortiz brothers. I guess they're staying at Gulfstream today, but we have some good jockeys here, and this is the place to be today, the premier card. And what jumps off the page at me, number one, is Luis Saez, a very good early speed rider, is on the top early speed. Charco is number 4, and by the pace, I mean, this one should be out front early. Maybe gets challenged by the 2 a little bit, George Allen. It could be those 2 could bump heads maybe in the beginning. This is the first time Saez is riding Charco. And both the 2 and the 4 have a tendency to go to the lead. Number 6 also has excellent early speed. They're coming out of a fast race, though, the 4. Charcoal, December 21st. Anybody else running that race? So I'm comfortable with 4 as the main speed. 4 is possibly the controlling speed, but also maybe the 2. I'll put a dash between those 2, and I'll put 4 first as the other speed. And I'm just looking around to see if somebody else really is quick early that could be in this mix. A 3 has some early speed, but he's off the pace a little bit. And 6 likes to run out front too. Okay. I'm comfortable with those 2 being the main speeds here. I'll list 6 and 3 as the second early speed. I'm not sure which of those 2 are going to jump to the top. So what you can see here is my first notes here. I took care of the early speed here. I see 4 and 2. I have a dash between them. The reason I have a dash is because I'm not 100% sure that it's going to be either or how they get out of the gate. Those are the 2 of the main front runners. If they both get out of the gate clean, most likely it's going to be 4 and top over the 2, but the 2 of them will probably be racing for the front. And 6 and 3, who are more of a early presser, they're just a little bit off the lead, but they usually don't go to the front, but they have early enough speed to maybe get there if they wanted to. I have 6 and 3 as the co-choices for the secondary early speed, but I think the main speed comes out of the 4 and 2. Okay, so we have an idea there. So now we're going to look at some of the other information on this race. This seems like a fairly straightforward race, at least by the pace, and there's not too many entries in here. And there are 8 entries scheduled, and the weather's supposed to be good. So let's get an idea of some of these guys. Tricky little race. I mean, one comes out of a quick race, Did win it here at the allowance level last race. My Glory B fired its best career race after since it got to fairgrounds. This one's been improved. Had about a 2.5 month layoff from about mid September to early December, and then came to fairgrounds and performed much better here for James Hodges. Has a win by 3/4 of a length the first time here. The other one came in second by a neck. Has been kind of improved. Number 4, the one with the early speed with Luis Saez. Early speed is the story. I mean, it ran as a 3-year-old some very quick races, and then had a very long layoff, a year and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, my 18-month layoff. Holy crap! From May of 22 to December of 2023, and has come back and has not been the same horse. I mean, he's running fast early, yes, but he's running fast early. But now I got switches from Steve Asmussen's barn to Cameo, first time with the team after the trainer change, is 20%. So he gets it done when they enter his barn first time out. And he's 0 for 10 with Saez. Saez, limited duty here. He is 21% at fairgrounds when he comes here. Tremendous with a 225 ROI, and does win. He's won 11 of 33 races. No, not 11. He's won 7 of 33 for 21% winning percentage. But I think this one's going to hook up with the 2. And so far, the 1 looks faster than both the 2 and the 4. Well, the 6 just missed last out, hardly able. And I listed this as maybe the 3rd speed that's more of a stalking type. Had been running at Evangeline Downs, very consistent performer. Has hit the board all but its maiden race. Had been running at Evangeline. At Fairgrounds, finished second by a half last out. Before that, first by a nose, third 4 lengths back, second 2.5 back, first 2 back. Edgar Morales, the jock, 17% here for the trainer, Thomas Amos. Thomas Amos, always got to keep an eye on him. He's 20% here. I know he's 25% here in 1,900 starts, but 1,900, 25%, that's out of over 1,919 races. So he wins at Fairgrounds in the money 58%, and he's 25% going back over 7,300 starts. So basically just under a quarter of his starts here at the Fairgrounds. Definitely a contender. And this one has enough speed that he can stalk off the top 2 early speeds and maybe benefit from a speed duel. Challenging little race here. 8 comes off a nice race for Alan Landry. That was at 1 at Delta Downs, a smaller circuit. Did run at a route distance at Fairgrounds. Tough race. They give us a challenging race in the first race. Who do I not like? I don't like the 7. I'm going to go back, look at the speed again for a second. The pace. I'm thinking that the 6 looks like the one to beat here, followed by the 1, 1, 6, almost a coin flip out of those two. I mean, if one My Glory Be repeats the last race at Fairgrounds, it wins. I mean, it'll be back, it'll be behind, it'll be trailing. We'll have to see. It's a good race to see how the track is playing, how the speed is holding up. What are the odds of the one repeating its best race? And we'll go back to these a second. Star Redemption, number 5, has a race 3 back at Fairgrounds. That was impressive. With a running pattern that usually scores some big results. I got to think Star Redemption. David Cohen up. Oh, no. David Cohen, 9% at Fairgrounds, 146 starts. 9% winning percentage overall, 228 starts. Ooh, how's the pace on the 5? I think the pace is so solid that, and given the form, I'm going to go against the 5. I want to double check the 1, and we'll have the first race analysis. And I don't think I think I want to go straight for the winner in this race. We'll look at the odds. Notice I'm not looking at the odds yet. I don't want to be swayed. Okay, trainer of the 1 is James Hodges. He's a 13% trainer at Fairgrounds. Emmanuel Nieves, the jock, 11%. Had been trying to break through and finally won a race, last race. And this one I think is a bit of a bounce candidate. But it's always around, does more second place running than first. Let's see, if you go back 2, 4, 6 races, he has 4 seconds. And did finally win last race at this level. Can he get it done? Yeah. He can even regress a little bit and win. Blinkers off for Amos here this race, number 6. He does win 26% with blinkers off. And Amos, so I'd say 6 is my top win contender here, followed by the 1. Do I have a third choice? I mean, this is to complete the early, say, pick 3 or doubles, 6 and 1. Then we got a host of others that might sneak in there. Even the David Cohen horse, if he goes back to the race 3 back, is a win contender. So we got to think about that come post time. Louis Saez horse. I mean, if he goes back to how he was running before the 1.5-year layoff at Oaklawn and even Fairgrounds, ran very well. But his last 2 races leave a lot to be desired, except for the early speed. And I see the 4 and the 2 clashing early. I'd be more inclined to use the 2 here instead of the 4. Trainers, because what happened last race? The last race is at Delta Downs. He has a number of races that are good enough to win. I will put 2 as my third choice if I had to go with one. Ben Curtis, the jockey, is 17% at Fairgrounds. I know Sai is on the 4, but I'm looking mainly win. I'll look more at that. And so you'll see my notes here for this race. Okay. So I got my top win contenders, 6, 1, and 1 is a close one. If he doesn't bounce, 1 could win that race. So I'm actually going to put a 6-1. I'll put a dash between the 2 that I think this one might go either way. But I have the 6 listed first as with the connections and the consistency. And my third choice, top choice for the win is 2. If 2 breaks free and gets away from the 4, the early speed with Saez, maybe he wires. I don't know. We'll have to see because he has races that can get it done there. It runs as well as the 6. So now I got 6, 1, 2. Let's see the odds of these horses and how they stacked up. Opening odds. Wow. The 6 is listed at 4 to 1. The 1 is listed at 9 to 2. And the 2 is listed at 6 to 1. Saez is 10 to 1. The Cohen horse is 10 to 1, number 5. Now, the Boss Sauce is the favorite, number 8, at 5 to 2, and I don't have this one listed at all. Let's take a look at this 8. If I remember correctly, this one's a deep closer that usually runs longer. He is. Coming from Delta Downs. He's the one I said did run a good race last race. At Delta Downs at 6.5. Now he's turning back to 6. Gets Corey Lineri up 17% here. And the trainer is Alan Landry, 13% here, 15% overall. I think this one likes it longer. I mean, at 2 out of the last 3 races, for example, he won the last race by a half a length at 6.5. The race before that, came in second by a neck at a mile. And the race before that at 7 furlongs at Delta came in second by a head. I mean, look, I think we got a weak favorite here. Let me just double check the pace on this one. The Boss Sauce. I mean, this one usually likes to be kind of close up on the lead, but he's not going to be close up today. Let me just check 9, Tambourine Star. Okay, so I don't like the 8, not to get it done here in this race. And he opens 5 to 2. So that's a good sign right there. See what goes into the first race. I'm not going to do this full breakdown. I'm just doing it this way for the first race. You see what goes into it. Actually, number 9 has good races to go back to. And is a player at a price here, one to consider. And I am going to list him. I mean, he has races in February and March that are really quick. Shane Wilson is the trainer, 12% here, but gets jockey Jose Andre Guerrero, who's 19% here with a 2.30 ROI. And the jockey trainer together, they're 23% together out of 768 races. Now, if this one runs his races March, February, now I did see the odds while I was checking the other odds. I see this 9 is 8 to 1. If he goes back to those February, March races and improves second off the layoff, and where Shane Wilson does improve second off the layoff, is 18%. This one is primed to maybe win at a big price. Let me just check the price on that. 8 to 1. Tambourine Star. Yeah, he's fast enough to be there early. And he's going to have to come out of the clouds a bit. And this jock has ridden him now the last couple of times. And does come out of the same race as the other one I like, number 6, Hardly Able. So let's see how those two did squaring off with each other. Now, the 6, I remember, is the one I said is actually my top choice. Okay, number 6 in the last race Finished second, a half a length back. And now the 9, Tambourine Star in that race, finished seventh, but only 3.5 back. But he was running off the pace. He was running between horses and he got bumped around. I mean, if 6 tries to hook up in that speed duel, we got the Sire, Star Guitar. Holy smokes. Definitely better to go back to. And you got the high percentage jock. I mean, a 9, I got a list and add him to my mix. I could see 2 and 9 as co-choices for the win spot here. So I'm going to add 9 as a dash. And I think all 4 of these have a shot to get it done. And we got some prices here. We got a 5-2 chalk that I don't like. At least not for the win spot. So I'll update my sheet here. Note sheet. As I got 6 and 1, and then 2 and 9 kind of as co-choices for the second spot. And I think I would point to the 9 more than the 2. So I'm going to circle that just based on its past history and the potential speed duel of 2 with the 4. So even though I'm adding it late and the 9 is listed behind the 2, and I have the dash there, I circled the 9 just to keep it neat. And that I actually think the 9 is a little bit better of a shot than the 2 at a bigger price. Okay, so there it is. That's the first race. Win contenders, I see 4 of them in there. And I see a weak favorite at 5-2, a Delta Downs entry. And that would really looks like it likes running longer. So how far did we get? It took a while to handicap the first races. So I'm going to pause this now, and I'm going to tell you when I get back. And I'll go just cut to it, and then I'll just give you my analysis after the race. And we'll go from there on to race 2. By the way, right now it is 3:12 a.m. So I'll be back and cover this second race, but just the main gist of it. I'm not going to break it down. I wanted to give you an idea what goes into them from the very beginning right through. And you saw that there was a lot I was covering there. I was looking at the pace. I was going back. I was rechecking things. I was looking at the situations where horses ran head to head, trainer stuff, jockey stuff, sire stuff. We see Star Guitar in there on the 9. So a lot goes into the prep race. You want to win at the races, at least I do, and I'm going to be presenting information when I'm doing my live shows. I want to know what I'm talking about and give you players out there a leg up on winning some money, or at least learning something, what you look for in the races. So we'll be back in a bit. I'll come right back, and we'll give you what I come up with for race number 2. Okay, it is now 3:33 a.m. I have looked at race 2. Race 2 is a lot of first-time starters in here. There is a standout, and I did put this. I looked at the speed a bit, and the early speed looks to be number 12, who does get Luis Saez on an excellent early speed entry. Gets really shows early speed on the dirt. Son of a ship. Number 12 with Saez, open 6-1. Now, not the fastest. You should get a jump on these. The question is he's breaking from the outside. Opens at 6-1. And what I like about this one is it has run on the dirt at fairgrounds. Its last race, 2 of its last 3 races were on turf. Has run in a stakes race at Evangeline Downs. And this is a 6 furlong race. Maiden special weight. So pace-wise, I look at the pace first. I think the 12 is the early pace. The question is, does have some speed inside of him. And he might lose some ground there. So we'll see what happens. Usually likes to be near the front or on the front. at the first call. And the other one, this other speed is breaking inside, number 3, Acromedacat. Acromedacat. Okay, you cat horse players out there, and maybe this isn't the one for you. It did break to the lead last time, and breaks inside here. It was in post position 2, so he's used to breaking inside last time out. Got the early lead by a half a length. But he does come out of and he flashed early speed and then faded and, got beaten soundly. So it has speed. I'm looking at the pace first. And one that he did face was number 10, Wish Carefully, who trounced him, finished second the last 2. Now, this is the standout, Wish Carefully. Has speed. He wasn't far behind, whereas the 3 took the lead at the first call by a half. Son of a Ship, Wish Carefully, number 10, was running third, but only a length and a half behind the leaders, and ran quick, hung around, did get second. So I have 3 as my second choice with the speed, may actually get to the front over the 12 because he's inside, way inside. And the third show the best early speed out of the starters is number 10, Wish Carefully, not far behind the other 2. And by the numbers, Wish Carefully is the standout in this race. And it does open 3-1. You'd say the race was over if you were going to go strictly by the numbers. And there weren't first-time starters in here, but there are first-time starters. And a couple of them are worth mentioning. But out of the ones with the experience, I see 10 as the winner, and number 10 opens 3-1, the best one out there with experience, followed by 12, the second best out there with experience, and the early speed teams, Michael Maker and Saez. Okay. And I just want to talk about the numbers for Maker and Saez on these first 2 with experience. Then I'll get to the 2 first-time starters that look a little interesting. Now, my first choice, the fastest one in here with the fastest races so far, Michelle Lovell. She's 16% here, covers over 850 races, and 16% overall, over 2,100 races. So she's a solid one. And before its last race, get this, it did finish second, 2 and change back, but it popped the gate before the race. So who knows if that would have been the race where that one broke through, and it still finished second. How many times you see him pop the gate and they do nothing? Well, this one still did something. And before last race, it was gelded. So it's a recent gelding. And that last race was on December 23rd. And again, it did beat the 3 soundly. So this one it looks solid. Jamie Torres, the jock, 15%. Jockey and trainer only have been in 10 races together. They won 1 of 10, but they're always on the board. Out of those 10 races, they've been in the money 9 out of 10. So we'll see there what happens. It looks like the best one. And as far as the 12, it's slower. Did finish second its last race on dirt. 2 back on November 25th. It really has run, and that was his first race at Fairgrounds, and it was significantly better than the others in here with experience, with the exception of the 10. It's Michael Maker. And going turf to dirt, Maker is 19%. 17% overall here at the Fairgrounds, 19% Maker, going back, closing in on 15,000 races. So a perennial winner at the track. Gets Luis Saez up. Is Luis Saez going to get free? I don't know, but this one has been trying to break through for a while. 0 for 7, has a couple 3 second place finishes and a third mixed in. And I like this. I think this one's second best out of those with experience, unless Louis really jumps out and it shows improvement. I don't think he's going to beat the 10. Now, the 2 that I like, that I have an eye on for first-time starters, is number 4, Thomas Amos again. And this is first time out and it's making the start as a 3-year-old. And first time out, maiden special weight with 3-year-olds. Amos does win 13%. When he's 4-1 or less, he wins 28% of the time. Gets Edgar Morales up. Together they're 20%. Morales is 17% here. He's looking at Lucky. Breaking Lucky is the sire. Now the 4 does open at 9-2, and he breaks inside. And I just want to look at something here with some of his workouts. He's Breaking Lucky, the sire, out of Looking at Lucky. And on the dam side, Ania, but Unbridled Song is the grandmother of He's Just Lucky. So you got nice breeding in there. First-time starters overall. In maiden special weight races, Amos is 18%. Workouts, 49-3 for 4, 114 for 6. 6 for one workout there. 8 of 9. I'm looking for any real big workouts. 3rd of 45, a minute 4 for 5. Has the breeding. It has the percentages. I don't know. Is he going to get it done here today? This is a race maybe even to pass on, but or spread a little bit. Does have an also eligible, a first-time starter, 13 also eligible. So be careful in this race. But you got the percentages with Amos, and He's Just Lucky, and the breeding number 4 at 9-2. And the other first-time starter who opens 5-1 just outside the 4 is Benji Starr. Number 5 opens 5-1 for Michael Stidham. And Stidham has David Cohen up, who's 9% at the meet, 8 wins, 89 starts. Stidham, maiden special weight races, he's 17%. He's 16% with first-time starters. This one has a little bit better. It's at an upstart on the sire. Comes off a workout, 8th of 51, a minute and 3 on the 13th. A week ago on the 5th, 10th of 48, 101.1. Before that, December 27th. So this one's working regularly a week apart. 8th of 30, 101. Dam has a winner from 1 starter. And as far as the 4, the Dam has 3 winners from 4 starters. And the jockey trainer is really hot the last 14 days, 6 races, 2 firsts, 2 seconds. So 4 and 5. 5 has the workouts going for him. It has the weaker jock in Cohen. Cohen and Stidham together, they're just 1 for 7 cracks. They won 1 of them, 14%. Cohen overall, again, 9% here. Upstart. This a solid starter. 3-year-olds, he's in the money, 43%, 14% winning percentage. So I don't know about these two. One of the first is going to get it done. I mean, 4 has the percentages, the higher percentage trainer, the 25% Amos, and the 17% jock in Morales. I put 4 slightly ahead of the 5 because of the connections, but I see 10 as the winner unless one of these first-time starters really jump up. The others with experience, clearly 10 the one to beat, followed by 12, a clear second choice based on their running, and 12 with the early speed. So race number 2. Let's see. Again, I'm not going to keep going to this, but I'll show you how I'm doing it here so you get an idea. Race 2, I see 12 as the main early speed, but I put them as a co-favorite with 3 because 3 does break from the inside. The 12 is going to have to cross over and a dash between them, followed by 10. And my win contenders in order, really, 10 best, 12 second best, and 4 and 5 are the first-time starters. I put it at slight edge over the 4 and the 5, and I'll keep an eye. I made note of 13A. Let's see if that one gets in there. Then we have to look at scratches. And so right now it is that race to go through. with the first time starter, it was, I know there was more entries, but it was a little easier to break down because some of the other firsters in there really don't have the credentials that the 4 and 5 do, and the 10 is a standout. So right now it's 3:45 and we a.m. and we're going to come back with the. I'm going to brief pause this while I go over the work, and then come back and give you the third race. And thanks for watching, everybody. And remember, this is pre-recorded. And remember, there could be changes on these selections. This is the first time I'm going through the card from scratch. So we still have scratches and changes that are going to come out and see how they affect the pace. And then when we're going through the races as the card unfolds on a live show, then we're going to see the odds. We're going to see body language of the horses. And so this is preliminary. This is first time through. So things can change because there are a couple more moving parts coming up, and they're big ones. The potential of the effects of the scratches, and also the board and what the horses look like once they get out there and the wagering opens up. So right now, 3:46, and we will be back, and I'll start recording again once my race 3 initial analysis is complete. Okay, race number 3, just after 4 o'clock, 4:05 a.m. Now, this is a 1.70-yard race for 3-year-old fillies. We got some interesting entries here. We have an overwhelming morning line favorite. Start with the pace. I see the pace going through number 5, being the main early speed. Play good, pay good. It won sprinting at 6 furlongs last out in a maiden claiming race. So kind of a class jump, and it's stretching out. Probably try and take him on the front end, David Cohen. Do I like this one to win? No, but I figure this one is going to be out front early. And the other second pace by its running style, how this sets up today, I think. Number 6 will be showing some early speed based on the last race at Oaklawn Park. And 7 actually has enough speed early. Now, that's the big favorite, Tarifa, Brad Cox entry at 7-5. But I don't think this it hasn't gone to the front either time. And I think he's going to save something today. He's not going to try and go after the 5, play good, pay good, and run with him. There's no need to. Let the others knock it out. So it has the speed, so I'll list it as my third choice because it does have speed to be there early, but I don't see it as going to the front. And the other one that really gets hurt here is number 3, who does like to get to the front. Standout Sensation from Amos. Amos has a couple entries in here. Amos, again, has a couple entries in here, the 3 and the 4. I think the 3 gets hurt because he's not going to get the lead over, doesn't have the speed to run with the 5 early, could get discouraged, and doesn't have really the speed to run with the 6 or even the 7, who doesn't even like to go to the front, whereas the 3 does. Last 2 times on dirt was leading at the first call, but he's not going to be leading at the first call today with the speed it has. The one positive about the 3, who does open at 9-2, is he has a race 3 back at Keeneland that puts him in the mix here for the win spot. The last race was on synthetic. I don't like that. You do have the jockey trainer percentages. 20% Edgar Morales and Amos 20% together, and Amos 25% here. But I'm looking more for the win spots here. The 2 that are the main win contenders. It gets interesting underneath for the third spot. You could certainly consider 3 as the third spot. But the one I landed on here, but I think the 3 gets discouraged from the other speeds who are quicker. So he's not going to get the lead. Now, the one that I'm torn between 2 horses for the win spot, for number 4 from Amos, it's a closing type. But Dia, who opens at 4-1, who won his last race and has gotten better every single start. First 2 races were on turf, where he finished 6th and 4th. And when Amos put this one on the dirt, Fairgrounds, first time at Fairgrounds, it won first casting, asking despite running very wide. And I think they're going to save some ground today. Second time out. It was at 1.16 and it won by a length and a quarter at the maiden special weight level. And so the race is actually faster than it looked. If they could straighten this one out, this one was moving pretty quick and managed to win despite running really wide for the race. So I'm looking for improvement next time out, Amos and Corey Laneri. And actually, I'll use both of these horses in the multi-race plays. I'm not going to mess with the exacta in this race because it'll either be very, very cheap or maybe somebody slips into second that's not unexpected, like maybe the 5 with the big early speed sprinting. That one opens at 8-1, I believe. The other one I like here is number the favorite, Tarifa, Brad Cox. Has his winning ways going, had trouble last race. They said he was restless. He leaned in at the start. But his first race, and he came in 4th last race at this level at Churchill Downs, allowance optional claim 100. 4th, 6.5 back. Chase didn't really get there. Does get first-time Lasix today. So that should help some. And jockey Florent Giroux is the jockey, and he is 29% at Fairgrounds, going back 112 races, 29%. And together with Brad Cox, they're 27%, covering nearly 2,000 races. So, and it did have a big blowout victory at 7 furlongs on Keeneland, where it didn't have problems in the gate. So if he goes back to that one, yeah, it's probably a foregone conclusion. Number 7, if he has a little trouble, if he gets mixed up in the pace scenario with a few of the others in here, maybe he doesn't get it done. I mean, he won't get it done if he runs like he did last race, where he finished 4th, 6 back. Do you excuse that gate problem? Even then, I think the 4 is the only one because of the pace scenario that can win besides the 7. 7 has good early and middle pace fractions that should be involved in the mix, even when he had the bad start last race. So in race number 3, I'm on either 4 or 7. I'm going to use them both. Getting a bit of a price on the 4 at 4-1. And you know Cox is going to take a ton of money. And Amos, remember, tremendous winning percentage. And Amos and Laneri. Laneri is 13% here, but outrageous percentages with Brad Cox. So I see either 4 Badia winning the closer or the more pressing type getting first-time Lasix. Most likely winner, I guess, the 7. If you want, and the 7, the breeder is Godolphin and the owner is Godolphin. So really tough connections across the board there for the 7. If you're going to beat them, I will use the 4 also in multi-race plays just in case, because I see that's the only one that has the shot to spring the upset based on its first dirt race here at the track. 7 never ran at the track. The connections and the pace of the race sets up for a potential closer to come in and maybe steal it. Has an excellent closing kick it showed last time. He'll have to come out of the clouds, but that's the only other one I think that can beat the 7. So race 3, 407. Right now it's 410. So we're going to pause this and I will come back with race number 4. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And this is a pre-record, as you can see. So if you're just catching it, if you're catching the premiere, chat is open. And besides that, if you're just coming in late, I guess you'll see it from the beginning otherwise. So be back in a bit, 4:10 a.m. for race number 4. Race number 4, timestamp 4:31 a.m. We're looking at the 4th race here now. And we have a first of 6 stakes races of the day here. It's a 5.5 furlong turf sprint. A bunch of them coming out of the same races. 7 entries. 5.5 furlong turf sprint. Who is this early speed here? We have some speed signed on. It looks like 1 and 2 are the speeds, primary speeds. Both like to go to the front. Number 1 is Just Might. Did win, ran its fastest race, Brisnet race to date. Got out of the gate really quick, jumped down top early, and gets speed in the rail. And the other one that likes to go to the front all the time is making primarily a dirt runner coming in from Laurel with Joel Rosario up, Pirate Rick. What kind of speed is it going to show on turf? That's the question. Has some big races. The trainer is 0 for 13 going dirt to turf. I mean, if he had his running line on turf that he does on dirt, I definitely consider him a win contender, Pirate Rick. But no, today I consider him a pace contender. And the other one that doesn't go to the front, but does have excellent early speed, did go to the front last time at the first call at Kentucky Downs on September 9th. But usually gets the regular jock, Christopher Amig. This guy rides him all the time, and he stays on board, and he has enough speed if he wanted to. Name of the horse is Bad Beat Brian. He has enough early speed that if he wanted to, he can go to the front, but he lays off. So with the other speeds in here, I think this one benefits by the early pace because he's probably won't have lay off a little bit, but then he has the strength to come on and overpower him with his early speed, but he chooses to use it more in the second stage of the race than the first. So 1, 2, 5, they look like the speeds here. Now, who did I come up with to win this race? I came up with that horse I was just talking about, number 5, Bad Beat Brian. Opens at 7-2 for Brittany Van Berg. Very solid trainer, gets the regular jock up who is coming here to ride it. Now, this one hasn't raced at fairgrounds in a while, Bad Beat Brian, but get this, has raced here twice and 2 for 2. In the money, 16 out of 25 at the distance, but here 2 for 2 at the fairgrounds. Now, its last couple of races, I'll give you a little warning there. Let me bring them up. Not his best. They were at Gulfstream, making his first time as a 7-year-old and getting Lasix for this race. I guess he was getting Lasix for this race. Has run in G2 Company 3-4 back, very competitive, especially at Kentucky Downs, coming in third in a G2, only losing by a neck. And that was at 6 furlongs. And at this distance, 5.5, 3 back of G2, finished 5th, but only 3.25 back. Last couple of races, didn't really like Gulfstream Park, but has a bunch of races fast enough to win earlier in the year in 2023. And did win at Churchill Downs on this distance on May 26th at the optional claim 75 level. Gets the Lasix. The race sets up for him, keeps the jock. Now, this trainer percented Brittany Vandenberg. These two are 25% together over 570 races. So they get it done. And Brittany Vandenberg, 0 for 2 at fairgrounds, so bringing this one in. But overall, she's 26% as a trainer. So I like number 5 as my top choice. And with shippers, Brittany is 23% out of the last 153 times she has shipped. So we got some good stuff here with that. It does have, it's 3 out of the last 4 workouts have been bullets. Now, it came prior to the last race. Now, in the last race, I'll give you a heads up here at Gulfstream. It did get bumped at the start of the race. The last 2 races, it got bumped at the start, had bad starts and got stuck wide. And so I had problems the last 2. So if you look at those last 2 and then you're letting them discourage you, don't. Had a bad start that race. And so I expected to get back to form today. And the setup is there. Very fast, doesn't need the lead. Number 5, Bad Beat Brian is my top choice. It opens at 7-2. Now, another one I like here, who did come in third, closing in the last race, and with the early speeds, this one has a big middle move and a big late move, is number 7, Minnesota Ready. Has raced 4 times here at Fairgrounds, has a second and a third. And at the distance, 2 races, a second and a third at the distance, including last race where it had a 105 Brisnet and got stuck running very wide, but with jockey Ben Curtis up, but still managed to come in third, only losing by length and a half. So we're looking for better from Curtis here, and it was at the Fairgrounds in a stakes race. So we're looking. This is another one I like, the pace scenario. Number 7, it sets up well with the speed. So, and we'll go down. That's number 7, Minnesota Ready. That opens 9-2. So far we got a 7-2 and a 9-2. And my third choice is number 4, Evan Song. He had trouble at the gate, and he got off slow the race before. Still trouble at the gate. He finished 5th, facing others in here in this race. Some coming out of this same last race. Including Minnesota Ready, who I just spoke about. And the number 1 is coming out of the race, Just Might, big early speed. Probably get pressed by Pirate Rick, the 2. The 1 ran considerably faster than it ever ran before. I'm looking for a bounce there. And also that pace stool takes something out of it with the Pirate Rick. So I'm going against the 1. I'm going with 4, Evan Singh. Now, it did run a very big race at Fairgrounds on February 18th, where it won by 3/4 of a length here, showing excellent, solid early, middle, and excellent late pace. Has that big middle move that he exhibited last race to get back into the race despite the poor start. It sets up at Fairgrounds. There's two wins out of 3 tries. And more importantly, at the distance, Evan Singh, 7 races, 3 firsts, and a third at the distance. So 2 for 3 at the Fairgrounds, 3 for 7 in wins at the distance with a third. And this one is number 4, Evan Singh's, open 9-2. So right now it's 4:33 a.m. We're going to go on to race number 5, but race number 4, top choice to wins, top win contenders to get it done for multi-race plays. Number 5 I like best, followed by 7 and number 4. So multi-race plays, I'll be using those 3. I'll be going against the the first choice, number 1, Sousa Summer. That's more of a closer. It's another one that comes out of the same race. Gets Luis Saez up. Ran a career best by far last race. I'm thinking these are bounce candidates from the 23rd because of their running style. You know, if you had to add another, I guess I would add the 3 if you wanted to spread. That opens 3-1, but something to think about there. But my main win contender is 5, 7, 4. And if you need Brisnet PPs, I'm putting them down below. Free Brisnet PPs, a link in the description area. So expand where you see the description and it says show more, click show more. You can get your Brisnet PPs for this track or other tracks in the United States without having to pay for them. So on to race number 5. Now 4:34 a.m. p.m. a.m. So you're getting an idea how long it takes. I'm pausing it. I do the analysis, and then I come back and I give you the breakdowns. On to race 5. Now, it's just a few minutes after 5 in the morning. Race 5 is a maiden special weight, 1.16 miles for 3-year-olds. Now, if you've been following along here, you could see how handicapping the race is. Looking them over in advance gives you a distinct advantage. Come when I look at it after scratches, and then when I look at it these horses during the show, you could see that I'm going to be familiar, going to recognize all of these once the board's open, and I could make any adjustments. from there and have more time to look at other things because I'm familiar with the horses. I looked it over. That's why I stress the importance of, if at all possible, look at the PPs, do your initial handicapping early coming in. This way, it's not like you walk into the track, you buy the racing form 20 minutes before post and get started. You're way behind the eight ball if you do it that way. I'm not saying it can't be done that way, but you can see how I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to know the horses. It's like seeing an old friend when the race comes up, and it's like, oh, okay, this one's coming up. And I have an idea. I have already intimate knowledge of the entries and why I like them. Now, in this race, this is a tough one. There's a few that I like best. I almost see them as any three of them can win. And there's positives for all three of them. So mile and 16th, we'll start off talking about the pace a little bit here. Race 5 of 13. Now, the one that looks like the front runner, again, David Cohen on number 7, Popweiser. I don't like it to win, but I like it to be possibly the early pace, possibly. It comes out of the number 6. Funny, so 7 I see is the main speed. 6 is running second at the first call. The last couple at the first call by a length. That's Funny Flame, and the one that might actually take the lead. Now, this one doesn't have route experience. The other two do. Is the second timer for Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen. The name of the horse, Hall of Fame. Anyway, it had a little bit of a trouble at the gate and still ran quicker fractions than, say, maybe with the exception of Popweiser. Even that's close. Even with a little bit of a troubled start at 7, it ran just under 23 and 0.91, including the run-up time. So that one has a little bit of early speed. And so that's one to keep an eye on there. And 3 also has a little early speed, but the main speeds there, I think 7 is probably going to go to the front, chased by 6, who is an early running type, and 4, who is not really an early running type for Asmussen, number 4, Hall of Fame. Now, there were 3 I landed on here, and I'm going to begin with the number 6. I have them separated by a dash here on my notes, which means it can go either way. I liked 6 because it has run at the track before. Let me bring it up. It comes off 3 straight second-place finishes, Funny Flame. Second by a head in the last race. Was running wide a bit. Running wider the race before that at a mile and 16th. Both these races, mile and 16th, finished second there by a length. Jose Andres Guerrero, the jock, a 19% jock. And before that, it ran second, came in second by a half a length. Is this the day it's going to break through? I mean, it's so there, it's knocking on the door. And the jockey trainer together, Shane Wilson is the trainer, 12% trainer, but he's 23% in over 760 races with Guerrero up, 23% with a 2.02 ROI. So they got their team there. So they're teaming up again. I'll bring up this. Number 6, early running style. And yeah. So Guerrero's going to be riding this one for the 4th time in a row. Never burned money, though. Was never the favorite. Went off in his last 3, despite second-place finishes. 9.8 to 1, 16.8 to 1, and 6 to 1, and still, finished second and nearly won the last 3. Gets blinkers on today. Wilson adding blinkers. 14%. Wilson having a good meet out of 152 races at 19%. So gets blinkers on. Give it a shot there. 2 races of fair grounds, 2 second-place finishes, 2 races at the distance, 2 second-place finishes. So that's my top choice. Now, the other one I like, tentatively, can go either way between these 3. Second is in that 6 opens at 9 to 2. And the 3 is my other one, opens at 5 to 1, has 1 race at Fairgrounds, now got stuck running wide, 4 or 5, brushed at the start, had problems all over the place, finished 7th, 12 back, but the race was faster than it looks. So I'm looking for improvement. A clean start today. Trainer Brendan Walsh, 17% trainer from the start of 2023 to present. Gets James Graham up. So Graham comes up. He's a 15% jock at the meet. Had previously been ridden by Declan Cannon. So this one, 75 Brisnet last race, but so wide, the bad start. I think you can throw that number out the window. Did run an 87 Brisnet, which is the highest of anyone today in its first start at 7 furlongs, Churchill down. So I'm looking to go back towards that direction. Clean start today. Definitely a win contender, lightly raced, only 2 races. So you're getting a price, and I figure this one to be around 6 and 3. And the other one is Hall of Fame, Steve Asmussen. This one is getting Lasix for the first time for its second career start. Now, this one got brushed at the start, got off a bit slow, still showed okay early speed, not groundbreaking, but fast enough to possibly be leading today, and a nice closing kick. Despite a bad start, was running in 7th place at the second call. Closed the gap and wound up finishing second. Came in second, 2 leg back, and had Caffleone up last time. Did take money last time. Went out off as the about a 1.9 to 1 favorite, almost 2 to 1, and finished second. And first time Caffleone today, Joel Rosario will be aboard. Number 4, who opens as the chalk at 3 to 1. And I just want to check something on these. And Rosario and Steve Asmussen, they have a history together going back just over 500 races. They're 21% together. And Rosario in limited action at Fairgrounds, I see an 18% winning percentage, 3 wins and 17 starts. Rosario, of course, a tremendous rider. He's pretty good wherever he goes. He has his lapses in concentration from time to time, but that's how it goes sometimes with Joe. When he's on, there's none better. And we'll see what happens there. So that's 6-3-4. Could go either way, but I slightly leaned in that direction as the top win contender 6, second 3, and third 4. But I'll use all 3 in multi-race plays. And the one that catches my eye, who's going off at a price, is number 10 in this race. It's a first-time starter, and it's out of Justify, Team Justify, Triple Crown winner, who's turned out to be a tremendous sire so far. And the name of that one is Saint Damasus, number 10 for Kenneth McPeak. Debut maiden special weights. He's 7%. All right, not the greatest, but you get a good jock here at the meet. Brian Hernandez, the 19% at the meet. But you have Justify out, has the breeding for the distance and also the track conditions. 17% sire with first-time starters. First-time starters win 17%. Last workout, 14th of 32 for 5 furlongs, 101.4. So you got the sire there, and you got McPeak. Let me just see if there's something else I could look at. The breeding. This is a 200K Colt. Yeah, it does come out making its first start as a 3-year-old. So why the delay? Maybe it's a little something to keep in mind. It's the McPeak and Hernandez Jr., the jockey, together. They're 17% covering 1,290 races. So they win together. They have a history together. Just look at it. Just one more thing here. First route, 17%. So he's making his first start. So you got Justify in there. 3-year-olds, Justify, offspring in the money 42% of the time. First time out. A very quick first time out, too. %19 winning percentage. First time out. I mean, geez. In the money 51% of the time, first time out. Keep in mind, number 10, who opens at 10-1, St. Damasus. So those are my selections here. I'm a coin flip basically between 6, 3, and 4 as my first choice. If I was going to spread or do something underneath, and I don't even know if I want to go there, I would just consider maybe spreading to 10 and getting a big price with the Justify first-time starter from McPeak, who is 10% here at at Fairgrounds out of 187 races, and 14% overall over 6,400 races. So that's it. Main win contenders 6, 3, 4, maybe 10. The first time starter. On to race number 6 of 13. And we're just about 5:15 here, folks. Now, race number 6 has some first-time starters that look really interesting. A bunch of first-time starters, a few that looks interesting. I looked at the pace. From what I come up with the pace here, number 10 looks like the pace of this race, and it is one of the ones that has some experience here. This is 6 furlongs, a maiden special weight. Now I'm looking at the 10. It not only has the pace, 12 looks like the next best. The pace comes from the outside as far as the ones with experience here. 10 leads the way, and it's also my top pick, the fastest of the ones with experience up here. In here, Believe Her. They spell believe like B-E-E, like a bee, a buzzing bee. Believe Her. Believe Her. Yeah, it has the speed of the speed. Now 12 and 11 look like the next fastest, but they've run that on the synthetic surface, and this, of course, is a dirt track. But even though they have speed, they put up horrible races, and I don't figure either 11 or 12 to be a factor in this race here coming up. 11 did run on dirt last time, but the other race was Tapeta, so cheap speed, Casby. And number 12, Share the Blessing, showed some brief speed and did nothing, finished up the track 28 back with David Cohen, is set to ride today. So speed looks like number 10 here of those. The speed and the goods belong to number 10. Believe Her, who opens at 6-1, finished second in first career start here, 4 back in a pretty quick race, running 110.72 and finished 4 back. So it ran really reasonably well. And its second start on a muddy track, had a little bit of trouble and still finished 4th, only 1 3/4 back. So that looks like the best one with experience. Number 10, Believe Her. Now we're going to go to the first-time starters. I'm torn between 2 of them. Hard time picking between the 2. Number 2, Motown Dancing, a Steve Asmussen first-time starter out of Motown, of Uncle Mo. And Joel Rosario is up. And Joel Rosario, when he's on his game with first-time starters, he is dynamite. He's like the horse whisperer, Joel Rosario. And he gets to break inside, which helps. 2 back and fired a bullet on January 6th. First of 38, 47, and 4. On the 20th, 2 back in the workouts. First of 42, 47, and 2. So this one is flying, in the workout arena. And you got Asmussen, who connects first time out, 14%. Maiden special weight, he's 18%. Debut maiden special weight, 14%. And Rosario, 11% at the meet, 14% overall. And the workouts, 57K purchase for filly. This is for maiden filly 3-year-olds. Okay, so that one looks very solid as a first-time starter. The other one, number 8, for Sherry Duval. She is 11% with first-time starter. The name is Yes Indeed. Now, this one is an 850K filly, $850,000. Can you believe that? Out of Bolt d'Oro. All right, so you got it there. in the breeding workout, star of the track. Another one, January 10th, second of 26, 47-2. That December 15th, second of 28, 47-1. A bullet on December 8th, first of 11, 1 minute, 0.2 for 5 furlongs. It has a bullet in August, 47-1, first of 40. So this one looks like the real deal. It's Brian Hernandez up, opens at 3-1 for Sherry Duval. I'm just a little curious. I think that the 2 is working so well for Rasmussen, so I'm a coin flip between 2 and 8 here. Tough call, but the 850K, is it worth it? We'll see. 2 and 8. And another first-time starter who's not working as well and opens up at a little bit higher odds is Galia Princess, number 3, Brad Cox, right, with Florent Giroux, the Frenchman. And Cox and Giroux, I mean, it's not, I don't see any really outstanding workouts. Last workout, 6th of 40, 49-1. On the 11th, on December 29th, 5 furlongs, a minute 2, 5th of 7. No bullets in there. And does open 6-1. Out of American Pharaoh, 50K filly. Does have Maglio d'Oro on the dam side. Now the question is can he get it home? Do you want to spread? I have 10 listed as, if none of the first is fire, I mean, the 10's the one to beat. But 2-8, how do you leave them out? I mean, quality horses. So Brad Cox, for example, with Giroux is 27%, closing in on 2,000 races together, and Brad Cox 28% here. First time out, maiden special weight, 3-year-olds, he's 21%. You know, horse isn't working that great on the track though. So that, I guess that's why he's opening 6-1, despite the big brand name of Brad Cox here. I just want to look how much the 10 was purchased for. That's an $80,000 filly, believe her. Now that, if you want the experience, and it definitely has early pace, and you're getting a bit of a price, maybe it finishes no worse than second place, and you get a price for the early speed with the best race of any on the track. And it was on a dry track, and the weather's going to be good today. So my choices here: race 6. Yeah, it's a tough call here. I'd probably use all 3 of these in multi-race plays. I wouldn't mess with exactas here. I think I'd go 10, 2, 8. Use those 3. If I just had to use 2 horses, I'd probably go with the 2 firsters over the 10, 2, and 8. Cox 3. You're getting a price. Keep an eye on the board here. So I'm going to make a note to myself even. I'm just going to write board on this. Not that I get caught up in body language and everything else going on. Just make sure, see what's going on here. As far as the others with experience, another hard to back any of these. Maybe 7 and maybe 7 making it its second start. Plum Tricky gets Luis Saez. What are the odds on that one? 10-1. Did get beat by the 10 last time by a half a length, but that was on the wet track. Yeah, if you want to take a look at 7 also, one with experience, does have a nice workout on January 7th, 47-2. Dallas Stewart, 19% at the meet. Gets Luis Saez. I'll put 7 as my 5th choice. I'll tell you what. Maybe even ahead of the 3. But I think I'm going to go no more. deeper than a couple 2-3 in the multi-race play with virtual coin flip, 10, 2, 8. That's who I have listed. I'm giving the one with experience a bit of an edge, but 2, 8, 10 here in race number 6. My main choices for multi-race plays. Okay, on to the next race. We're up to race number 7. And I'll pause this and I'll come back when I'm ready with after the analysis. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been pre-recorded, by the way. Getting ready, first look at the card here from the very beginning. Fairgrounds, 13 race card here, handicapping it through the card for the first time. So we'll be back for race number 7. Now, race 7 is a mile, 50K optional claim for 4 and up. So we're going to take a look at the pace situation here. We have a full field of 12. We have 2 AEs in case any of them scratch out. And if we even have a couple of main track only, but the weather's supposed to be excellent over at Fairgrounds today, so we don't have to worry about that. So there's an interesting horse in here at a price, and there's a one that looks like it could be the early speed, who is running great on dirt, making its first turf start, number 9, Nelson Avenue. Could be the pace. We don't know how it's going to react to the turf. It looks like the breeding is there to adjust to the turf, lightly raced. I mean, if it's dirt races translate to turf, I mean, this one is probably there at a price, and that is number 9, Nelson Avenue. As far as the pace goes, 3 usually likes to go to the front. Fortuity, I don't see this as a win contender, but it's going to be part of the pace scenario. Will he be able to contend with Nelson Avenue? Nelson Avenue, although he is quick early, doesn't usually go to the front. He usually stays just off a length or so, length or 2 back, but he has speed, so he'll probably have speed to burn if he needs it later on, 9. But the 3, probably part of the pace, and that's Deshaun Parker for Fortuity. And I see number 4 showed unusual early speed last race. Gets Louis Saez, had Declan Cannon. Carroll had ridden at the last 3 races, and you showed unusual speed last time at 1 16th mile at Churchill Downs. So they got Louis Saez up on this one, and Louis has ridden this one before, back in Keeneland in April of 2022 and February of 2022 here at Fairgrounds. Has some early speed. Another one does have a race in there back here at the Fairgrounds, in fact, that can maybe do a little bit of damage. Believe me, one here in February, but we'll check. That would be February 22. That's a ways back, but not one of my win choices. The other one is 6, who does show some speed. Is historically more of a speed runner, but I just think he's going to try and be part of the pace, but he's probably not going to get there. He might, but he'll be part of the pace. But I don't see 6, Gray Streak, as being a contender for the speed. So the speed horses, turf, the ones that's shown the speed on turf, 3, 4, and 6. 3 probably be out front early, followed by 4 and 9. Who knows? He was a dirt horse, but has run quick early on dirt, though not going to the lead. So 3, 4, 6, and 9. The fast ones early. What about as far as winning the race? Race number 7. I'm split between the 1 and the 9 as the winner of this race. Michael Maker, trainer of the 1, last ran Kentucky Downs, was scheduled to run at Keeneland in October, but a vet scratch. But has a very consistent performer as a 4-year-old, making its first start as a 5-year-old. Seems to have a case of second-itis. has finished second 4 of the last 5, and the other one, a victory in April at Churchill Downs by 4 3/4 lengths. Very consistent. So comes back as a 5-year-old. It's been off now 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 months for Maker. When he's away from the races, 90 plus days with an entry, he does get it done though. 18% has him good to go. Let me just double check his workouts. Gets Joel Rosario and Maker in Rosario together at 21%, and Maker 17% here in over 760 races. So you got the connections, and this one has run well off the layoff before. You know, in 2022 was off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 plus months, and came back and threw a nice race at Gulfstream Park. Actually finished third that race, but ran a decent race. It wasn't that far back, 4 and change back, and ran better than it had ever run before the 9 months layoff. So this is less of a layoff, and I think this one's good to go. Chasing the Crown, number 1, and Chasing the Crown opens at odds of, let me bring this up, 3-1 with Rosario. Never raced here, though. On turf, in the money, 8 out of 9 tries. 2 wins out of 9 career races, 3 seconds, 3/3. Okay, so 8, always around. Now 9, we talked about 9. This is the dirt entry. This one has 6 career races, has won 2 of them, a second and a third. Has not raced on turf, but got the breeding up the gazoo. Out of Into Mischief. Oh, man. And Godolphin is the breeder and the owner, and has the fastest races. The only question is this: can he take to the turf? Last workout, 5th out of 107, 48 flat here at the fairgrounds. I'm looking at some of these previous bullets. October of 23, get this, 1st of 20, 58 seconds flat. Come on, man. The question is taking to the turf. If he does, he's the fastest horse in the race. Got to use him. So I'm split between 1 and 9 as my top choice. Now, here's where it gets interesting. My third choice, and I think he's a win contender, I would use all 3 of these just based on what I'm seeing here. Number 2 comes off a race, a second place finish here at 1 mile and a 16th off the pace, and making first start as a 7-year-old. This one has some races back in 2022 as a 5-year-old that would win flat out here, even beating the 9 if he makes a transition from dirt to turf. And that is number 2, Alex June. Ran wide last time. I think we're going to get some improvement breaking from, I don't know what happened. Okay, I think we're going to get some improvement today. He ran the last 2 races, came in second here last out with a nice race that fits. If you even want to use this one underneath, say, because the 1 and 9 really are cut above these other 2. But a nice underneath horse, or for stretching, definitely a nice stretch horse. It's not impossible. That may get in there be helped by the pace a little bit. Opens, that's Alex June. Alex June opens at number 2. 10-1. And you have a trainer who's Lindsay Schultz, 10% at the meet, 1 for 10. In the money, 5 out of 10, though, 2 seconds and 2/3 also, besides the victory. Gets a 15% jock at the meet, Jamie Torres. Torres has ridden this one the last couple of times to a 2nd and a 6th. %, in routes is Schultz, 148 tries. Turf starts, 18%. This one has 2 starts here at Fairgrounds, 2 starts of second place finish. At the distance, get this, 6 races at the distance, 3 wins and a second. So you may want to keep this one in mind on top. Not impossible, has a real nice closing kick, and he's running well here at Fairgrounds early too. I mean, enough to at least be involved in the mix. Okay, so 1 and 9, I like best, co-best, followed by 2. And here's one that if he does get in, the also eligible number 13, who is a win contender, and he opens at 5 to 1. Okay, so you're not getting the greatest prices and you're getting an outside post. But this one does have early speed and should be able to get in position. It might actually be the speed of this race if he gets in. At Fairgrounds, 8 races. The Sailing Solo is number 13. 8 races at Fairgrounds, 2 first, a second, and a third. But at the distance, has won 4 out of 5. Yeah, and he's been running a mile 16th. You know, last time he ran at the distance, a mile at Hawthorne, wired the field. Wired the field at this distance. Yeah, the 13 is definitely going to be a player if he gets in. The whole question is the post position. Let me just check this out here. Last race, what happened? Okay, he got bumped mid-pack, and he got brushed. So he got interfered with last time, and he finished 9th, and he got stuck running wide. Before that, he won here at Fairgrounds with a very quick race. Won also at Hawthorne at this distance. I mean, definitely got to be considered as a win contender. Gets Jareth Loveberry, who's 16% here, with Louis Roselle III, who is 16% here. And together, Loveberry and Roselle III, they're 22% together with a 2.22 ROI. So if 13 gets in, you know, maybe this is a spread race. I mean, I don't know what kind of odds. The 13 does open at 6 to 1. So you got a 10 to 1 with the 2, 9 to 2 with the 9, and 3 to 1 with the 1. And if you really wanted to spread deep with maybe one of the early speeds, 4, Louis Saez, but I really don't want to go there. As far as the 4, he did win a couple of years ago in 2022. You got to really dig into the archives there. Yeah. So race number 7, I'm torn between 1 and 9 for the top spot, but 2 can certainly get it done as well. Excellent at the distance. 13A with the early speed. Keep it in mind if it gets in. So those are it. Race 7, my top 2. I'm torn between the 2 of them, either 1 or 9. And followed by 2 and 13A. 13A, remember, has that big speed. So that's race 7. 7 in the books. On to race number 8. And if you are seeing this for the first time, this is pre-recorded. Chat is open during the premiere of the video, but that's the only time chat is open. And on to race number 8. Okay, so we've got 7 of the 13 covered already. So on to race number 8. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See the work that goes into this, preparing. A lot of first-time starters and a full field with with even AEs here in this 8th. 6 furlong maiden special weight. Big field. Dunkin' Donuts original blend. All right. In this race, out of the ones that with experience, the pace really goes through number 11, followed by the 2. Now, the 11 did show very good early pace. It has Deshaun Parker up. The name of the 11 is Last Attack, out of Mendelssohn, folks. Anyway, this one did finish third last time out, maiden special weight at the level here, showed really good early speed and a marked improvement in its races. Its first two career races were on turf at Kentucky Downs in September, then on turf here. Got a bad break. Still finished eighth, but only 3 back. But then on first race on dirt, I mean, really showed excellent early speed. And they get Deshaun Parker aboard, 10% winning percentage here, and teams with Jade Gellner, 10% at the track, 1 for 9 with Deshaun. But that's going to be the speed. 2, I figure 2 does have some speed, not as much as the 11 say, but does have a good early speed, but doesn't figure to be in the top 1. So the speed, early pace scenario here in race number 8. I'm safe to say it goes through 11-2 of those with experience. But who do I like best to win? And I'm going to go with a couple of Brad Cox entries. He has 2 entries. Curlin is the sire of both of them, whose offspring is fast as hell early. Now, these are maiden 3-year-olds. In Curlin's offspring, the 3-year-olds, they win 17%. In the money 45% of the time. Curlin, 2-time horse of the year as a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. Just a tremendous sire. First $10 million earner. Won the Jockey Club Gold Cup 2 years in a row. Run the Breeders' Cup as a 3-year-old. Anyway, and Brad Cox, probably going to be trainer of the year for 2023. That Eclipse Award is going to be coming up this coming Thursday. Eclipse, so all the winners. It's like the Academy Award for horse racing. So number 7 is, we'll go to the first Brad Cox entry, Exploration. This one, let me bring up his workouts. Race 8. Exploration, 900K colt. Out of Curlin, who's out of Smart Strike, has Malibu Moon 2 back in the dam side, 900K. Look at these workouts. January 13th, 3rd of 51, minute 0.1 for 5. Before that, a Bullet, 1st of 67, 59 and 3 for 5. 23rd out of 122, 102, 48, 3. 2nd of 74, 1 minute 3. Yeah, looks like the real deal. Gets Louis Saez up for Brad Cox. I mean, these two together, Saez and Cox, they're 27% together, going back over 280 races. And, of course, Brad Cox, first time out, 3-year-olds, maiden special weight, wins 21% of the time, over 300 starts. Under 4-1 or less, 28% of the time. Curlin. All right, so you get an excellent jock, 900K colt, excellent trainer. So that's number 7. And that one opens up at odds of 5-2 as the favorite. And now we'll go to the other Cox entry, number 10, who opens at 9-2, also out of Curlin, with Florent Geroux aboard at 9-2. Let's look at his workouts. Not quite as flashy as the 7, and not quite as expensive either, but still expensive, 250K, not 900K. So he's like the black sheep of the brothers. Well, I don't know. It's too early to call him the black sheep. He didn't even race yet. But here's what the 10 does have advantage over the 7. And the 10 opens at 9-2, whereas the 7 opens at 5-2. The owner and the breeder of the 10 is none other than Godolphin, Eclipse winning trainer, a breeder or owner. I mean, wins Eclipse awards for its, connections that way. And so you got Godolphin there. Workout's not quite as impressive. He does have a couple bullets out there. One bullet back in December on a muddy track, 47-3, first of 21, 47-3. But more recently at Fairgrounds, 32 of 51, 102 for 5. Third of 67, 1 minute, 0.2 again for 5. 23 of 102. So it's not quite a slouch, has some bullets. Okay, the 47-3. So, but you got the Godolphin entry, and you've got Florent Giroux. My apologies, Florent, if you're listening. Just checking one thing. And Florent Giroux is 33% here at Fairgrounds, and he's 27%, over 1,900 starts with Brad. So it's kind of interesting that he's putting his more of a go-to guy, Florent, up on the 10 than the 7, who Saez has ridden considerably less, 287 times with Cox, and Giroux 1,939. So is this going to be one of the cases where the longer one of a uncoupled double entry from Cox, the longer one comes in? We'll see. So I'm split between the 7-10. You got to use those. And the other one I'll throw in there is the one with the early speed with Deshaun Parker, number 11, last attack, opens 10-1, good fractions last out. And for Jade Geiner, who is 17% going back to the start of 23. And Parker has ridden this one 2 in a row, including the last one. So maybe some improvement next time out on the dirt here. So my choices for race number 8, 7 and 10, almost a coin flip. I like third, 11 next best if it. None of the first is. Remember, there are other first-time starters out here too, who don't come quite with the accolades of the Cox 7 and 10. I think this is a better race for multi-race plays. If I had to use just 2, I'd use the 2, 7, 10. If I wanted to spread, I'd add the 11 at 10-1. If I insist on exactas, maybe box, you get the 11 in there somewhere. Maybe one of the 2 other entries don't show up, and the 11 slips into the exact at a price at opens 10-1. That's the fastest one with experience anyway. So race number 8, either 7 or 10. I like best, co-best from Brad Cox and the top jockeys, Giroux and Saez. And 11 is the other one if you want to consider one that with experience, the best with experience so far. So 8 in the books here at Fairgrounds. Race 9 gives us some good opportunities here. Now, this race is on turf, right? And it is our first turf. This is a stakes race, the Marie G. Krantz Memorial Stakes, 1 1/16 on turf. Now, what I love about this race is the morning line favorite, number 9, Tufani, opens at 5-2, and I see a number of horses that, when you consider ground loss and everything else here involved, there are others faster. I know Tufani is 2 for 2 at Fairgrounds. It's gotten some dream trips at the distance, has run 3 times, has 2 wins in a second. I see others as better, and I see this one breaking outside. It's a pressing type. So we'll start by talking about the pace of this race. Anyway, I'll be playing against the 9, certainly for the win spot. I'll be focusing. Even for the exacta spot, I'll go against it if I play the exacta. But I see 3 and definitely 2 that I will be using that look like the ones that are 2 of them are clearly superior. And one of them, maybe even my third choice is superior as well. And there's even a 4th one that looks, superior to me from what I'm looking at here. The pace here, number 3 is going to be winging it on the front. Always goes to the front, Swoonatra. And that's where you're going to see him up front early, and then he's going to fall apart completely and does not figure in this at all. Swoonatra does a lot of running. He's quick early on synthetic, mostly. Any surface he runs on, and has run on the turf, went to the lead on the turf at Gulfstream, but the numbers just don't jive, don't fit this race. And the other one that does show a little bit of speed on turf and likes to go to the front is Join the Dance with Joel Rosario, number 8. It's another one that I don't like. I see his part as maybe trying to mix it up early, but he'll get gassed if he tries to run with Swinatra, the 3. But figure the 8 to be trying to get to the front too. Join the Dance. And the other one who has a little bit of early speed, but actually is fast enough to figure in this freaking race. It doesn't go to the front. Am I seeing this correctly? Number 7, Unbridled Mary. Now gets David Cohen up. Now this one has speed on turf to burn sprinting, and has run some races sprinting. If stretched out, can contend for the win spot. I like it better underneath. It should be part of this pace. I mean, the real deal, but doesn't need to go to the lead. He can save it for later on. It has a decent kick. And so 7, yeah, the speed, early speeds here, 3, 8, and 7. I believe 3 and 7 will be the ones. 3 will be 7 will be stalking the 3. 8 will try and get up there, but probably won't be, even though he likes to go to the front, Join the Dance. It probably will be trailing the 3 and the 7, but maybe he tries to outrun himself. I think 8 is up against the wall here with between the 3 and the 7. What about for the win spot? I mentioned that this other horse is a vulnerable favorite, number 9. Okay, and this is race 9 here. I like first choice. Number 1 has multiple races that can win this. Kenneth McPeak gets Brian Hernandez Jr. Comes off a win here at Fairgrounds at 100K level stakes, winning by a head here. So it looks like that's its lone race at Fairgrounds. Comes in and wins by a head, and actually ran better in the race 2 back in a G3. Finished 3rd. It was a tough race, 1.125 miles, but got stuck wide. Got stuck wide last race a little bit. Finished 3rd in that race. I mean, a race at Indy where he finished 2nd by a half a length. I mean, that race is just good enough to destroy this group. And that was on a good turf back in July. I mean, this one is very solid, very solid. Nice numbers. Gets Hernandez Jr., who's 20% here. And the jockey trainer together is 17%. Peak overall, 10% here. But he has the rail. And he opens this one, Lovely Princess, opens up at 3-1. And my second choice, I'm going down to number 6, coming in from Florida. Well, anyway, Robertino Diodoro, the infamous Diodoro, but does have a good horse here, who's running a last race at a mile. Look pretty solid. Won by a neck. Previously trained by Joe Sharp, very sharp trainer. Seriously, Sharp is a sharp trainer. You know, it's not a total play on words or names. Very solid. Very solid. A number of races that could fit this, that including the last, that are better than the favorite 9. Diodoro, 10% here, 23% overall, closing in on 12,000 races. And has James Graham up, who's 15% here. They only teamed together twice. They didn't hit the board. They didn't win. But by the numbers, Fancy Martini, making first start as a 5-year-old, looks the part. Has races that contend here at a bit of a price. Now I want to go to the 7, who's part of the speed. Has numerous races that are nice. Granted, they're shorter. His race at a route at Santa Anita. Did run a route on dirt and did okay. came in third, 6 back here at the fairgrounds, and now goes back to the turf where it has its better races. So you know he can get the distance. You know it has some speed. Unbridled Mary. And this one, let me just give you the odds of this Diodoro horse. Number 6 opens at Fancy Martini 6-1. Nice. Now this one, Unbridled Mary, I mean, it's Santa Anita finished third, only a length and change back at a mile in October at Fairgrounds. At Lone Star, it has and Santa Anita had registered victories at 5 and at 6.5. But I like that it showed it can get the distance, and I like that it's getting back on turf, and I like that he's going to be part of have good position here in this race. Unbridled Mary does have David Cohn up, who you know I'm not a fan of, 9% here, but with the trainer, Kenneth McPeak, going back 170, they're not all that bad, 13% together with a 1.87 ROI. And the odds on Unbridled Mary, number 7, you're getting 10-1, and it's not at all impossible that this one wins. I mean, it hasn't won at the track, hasn't raced at the distance, but Cohn did ride it last time when he finished third at 16-1 in the stakes level on dirt. I don't know why they took this one and put it on dirt for the first time in its career. After it had been betrayed by Sadler, McPeak, but now he goes back to turf. And second start with the team, means second start coming out of the barn of McPeak, he does connect 29%, second out. So I like 7 more so for underneath. I like 1 and 6 best. If I had to use a fourth one, would I go with with that favorite, the weak favorite, the 9-2 favorite? I might go 5 over that one. Now, 5, and coming out of a race December 23rd, came in second by a head running wide. Let me see where the 9 ran its last race. December 23rd, Fairground 3. No, they come out of different races. I'd almost be tempted to go 5 over the 9 if I had to go. But I'm going to leave it at this right now, and you could play with that later. I just see the 9. I'm more concerned with the win or maybe the exact at a price here. So I cutting corners, I go 1-6 for the win. If I wanted to add a third and think maybe the speed somehow gets up and gets it done, who has competitive race numbers, 7. Maybe use all 3 or 1-6 over 1-6-7 exacta box, or maybe box all 3, considering I see a weak favorite. The only thing about boxing all 3 that bugs me is I think the 5 has a good shot with Florent Giroux of sneaking into the exacta. We see him finishing a second a few times here, a very close third. This one is always around the wire. So I think I'd focus more on getting the win done here. So race number 9, my 3 top win contenders, and I got them. I have number 1 is my top choice, Lovely Princess, 3-1. So McPeak has 2 entries here. He has the 1 and the 7, Unbridled Mary at 10-1. Interesting. How many times do we see the trainers have multiple entries and the long one wins? Anyway, so my top choice, number 1, Lovely Princess, McPeak, and Brian Hernandez Jr. Second choice, number 6, Fancy Martini, Robertino Diodoro, and James Graham. Opens at 6-1. And my third choice, and more so for underneath, is number 7, also Kenneth McPeak, Unbridled Mary, with David Cohen opening at 10-1. And again, I see the 9 morning line favorite 5-2 as a weak favorite from the outside. So I'm looking to beat that one, and I'm pretty sure one of these 3 will. So that's race number 9, 1, 6, and 7. Okay, race number 10 brings us another stakes race. Let's talk about it. It is 1 mile and 70 yards. It's the Silver Bullet Day Stakes for fillies 3-year-olds. We'll begin by talking about the pace. Now we have one that's stretching out here. Number 4, play good, pay good, early speed type from Rob Atris. We're talking pace here first, who is sneaky damn good here. It's not even sneaky at this point. 6 starts at Fairgrounds for the meet. He's won 4 of them. And he's going to try and steal this one on the front end for this one that won by 1 3/4, by 3 1/4 last time, wiring the field. Blistering fractions, 21 3 opening first call. Come on. David Cohen up for Rob Atris, but that's the early speed. Okay, we're talking pace first. As far as and now we're going the second pace, another one that likes to go to the front early, and I think he's going to get frustrated, is Miss Code West, undefeated Miss Code West in 4 tries, all at Remington Park. That looks like the second pace here has been at the, has done a wire job 2 out of the last 3. I just don't see it getting the lead or even getting close. Maybe it can run with, I could see a speed duel between 3 and 5 here. Let's put it that way. I think it hurts them both. And number 1 has some early speed as well, but it doesn't take the lead and it sits off. Is number 1 is my third, the third pace horse here. Perfect Shot, Rosario and Steve Asmussen. So the pace looks like it goes through 4-3, and I give 4 the slight nod to 3, but who knows? It could be either or in front, and 1 will probably be stalking close. What do I think about the winner of this race now? Now, this is a mile 70. It's a stakes, 150K stakes. Well, I've landed on 2 of them here. I'm going to use both in a multi-race play, and we'll start with the one I like best, which is number 6. Let me bring them up. Okay. West Omaha, Brad Cox teaming with Luis Saez here. This one comes out of Stakes Company, where it finished second here at Fairgrounds. And even though it's a closing type, they list it as a closer because it does have a good closing kick. Actually wired the field at Churchill Downs 2 back with decent pace. He's 1 race at Fairgrounds, the second place finish, stakes tested. Wasn't the favorite last race, went off at 2.2 to 1 and finished second with Rosario. What's interesting now, they're not going back to Joel Rosario. They're going with Luis Saez here. So is that an upgrade to Rosario? Hard call, right? They're both tremendous jockeys. Saez is the one that's riding better now these days. But you got Brad Cox, Luis Saez, West Omaha. That's my top choice. Opens at 2 to 1. And my second choice here does get Joel Rosario. So it's not like Rosario's totally left out in the cold. He gets up on board for Steve Asmussen with my second choice, Perfect Shot. I think it's almost a virtual coin flip between these 2, the 1 and the 6. But with the 1, he opens at 4 to 1. So you're getting a bit of a price. He's run 2 nice races. Won its last race by 3 3/4 lengths. Comes off an 88 Brisnet here at a mile 16. Before that, an 83, finishing second. Asmussen here, shipping in for this from Churchill. He's 19% with shippers. And the rail post is winning at a 19% clip, so he should get to save some ground. He has some speed. Sire is Gun Runner. You got to love that. Tremendous Sire. Going back to the 6 a second, did run a 92 Brisnet last race. His Sire, West Coast, Flatter, Birthday Bash. So one is the more expensive for 285K filly here. So I'll tell you what, this could go either way. Either way, this can go 1 and 6. If I had to pick a third, I don't know what's going to happen with the pace. I think I would throw Miss Cody West underneath the 3, who is undefeated in 4, opens 9-2. You're getting a bit of a price with they're keeping the jockey, bringing the jockey into town for this one for Kevin Shaw. Floyd Wethy Jr. has ridden at all 4 races, undefeated above this filly. And so yeah, it opens at 9-2. So inside, it probably doesn't want to go down in flames. And the one that I think is a vulnerable third choice is even Asmussen is comes in at higher odds than this, 4-1. Is number 8, I think, is weak for a third choice, Sistina Chapel. So I kind of like that. Get the 8 out of the mix. You know, where do we go with this? Either 6 or 1. I slightly favor the 6, but the 1 is more expensive. It has the breeding and Asmussen and the rail and a little. So, well, either 1 or 6 in multis. If I was going to throw somebody underneath in a try, maybe in a try 1-6, 1-6, I'd probably go 3 and 5 for a 50-cent try. The 5 is the other one with big early speed. No, the 4, the 3 or 4 in the third spot. Play good, pay good with Cohen. The one that has the blistering early speed and opens 15-1. Maybe you get a bit of a price. Maybe Asmussen beats the 6, so it finishes 1-6-5 or something. I mean, it's a 2 by 2, 1-6, 1-6-3-5. So you could play that for 50 cents for little or nothing, and maybe you sneak one in there. Who knows? So race number 10. I like, I'm torn between 1 and 6 for the multi-race plays. 6, slight edge coming out of Stakes Company and Cox. 6, West Omaha opens 2-1, and 1 perfect shot. Steve Asmussen opens 4-1 with Rosario. So that's race number 10. 1 and 6. I could see this going either way. So 10 races in the books. All right, just turning 7 o'clock in the morning here. Got started at this 2:30 in the morning. I've had pauses along the way. Big card, 13 races, and we're up to race 11. So let's talk about that. Now we have a turf race here. This is the 1 1/6 Colonel E.R. Bradley Stakes for 4-year-olds and up. Purse $100,000, and we'll start as usual by going to the pace scenario for this race. And number 2, Strong Quality, does have the pace. I mean, geez, it hasn't run here before, but a perennial front runner, always at the leading at the first call. You go back the last 6 races, it had to lead at the first call, and keeps its jockey, Florent Giroux, aboard. Strong Quality looks like the main pace, is the main pace. Very fast, whether on dirt or on turf, sets wicked fractions. Now, the other one that has the pace, big early speed, is number 3, a dirt entry, making its first start on turf, Brigadier General. Dallas Stewart enters this one. And there's another one that likes to go to the front most of the time, or right there. 4 wins, 18 career starts. All the starts on dirt. How much speed is it going to have on turf? We don't know, but these are the 2 standouts as far as speed goes. If there's another one that has a little early speed on turf, I mean, number 8, Rising Empire, did do a wire job 2 back here at the fairgrounds, and and it didn't show the early speed of the other two and three, but did, get a soft pace and took it to the bank. And this one is, but I figure this one's going to be following along here. So, and that looks like the speed here in this race. Now, what about who is the winner going to be in this race? We'll talk about that. There's just one thing I want to check now. The winner, race 11. Now, if you're just seeing this or you're just joining us here, if you're joining us during the premiere of this video when it first airs, and when I let it go at 9 a.m. Eastern time for premiere, you may want to go back and scroll it back to the very beginning, because this way you'll get the analysis and the picks for every single race, all 13 races from the get-go. So you may want to start there. It's up to you. That option is there. Okay, if you're just joining the premiere right now. And I do want to look. Yeah, I think we do have a weak second choice here. Cherie Duval has won Beatbox number 9 in the 11th race, who does open at 5-2. How is this one opening as the favorite is beyond me. Okay, the one I like best in this race, race number 11. I mean, it's a nice one if you want to play exactas. I'm focusing more on the win here. I see two that are standouts. So I'm going to go to those. I am going to start with number 2, Mark Cassie's Strong Quality. Now, it ran really quick races on the dirt. Its last two with Churchill and Oaklawn, but it has numerous races at Colonial, on turf at Colonial, Belmont, Keeneland earlier in the year, even Gulfstream. Fast enough to win this race. And he opens as a second choice. Mark Cassie and Florent Giroux aboard. Together, they're 21%. Cassie is 17% here at Fairgrounds. Giroux is 29% aboard. This one's going to be awfully tough to beat. And on top of that, it's probably going to play Catch Me If You Can. So this one looks good. This one looks good to go here. Has raced at Fairgrounds before, but on dirt. But on turf, this one's a monster. And the last two dirt races, very quick, making its first start as a 5-year-old. And the Lasix is on for this race out of Quality Road. And my second choice, who is also fast enough to win, maybe if the pace sets up with the 2 and the 3 hooking up, is number 8 from Brendan Walsh, 16%, gets Luis Saez up. Now, this one has enough pace to stay close, but also can pounce on even the slightest of pace breakdowns. Has won here before, and it has 3 races here at Fairgrounds. We're going to excuse the last race at 1 mile and a 16th. He left the lead there at the end of the race and finished 9th. Not a terrible race, but he had some problems, got stuck running very wide. And but this one has, at least last year alone, 3 races at Fairgrounds, good enough to win. One on November 30th here. It finished second on March 25th by a half a length in a G2, and one in February here at 1 mile and an 1/8. And I think the 1 mile and 16th fits it even a little bit better, has the numbers, and being that it has the experience, I'm almost torn between the 2 and 8, who is going to win. So I have a dash separating them, and that's Rising Empire, Brendan Walsh, Luis Saez. Together, they're 19%. So I love the 8 there, and getting a bit of a price. Career at Fairgrounds, 5 races, 2 wins, 2 seconds. At the distance, two races, 1 second, but horse for the course here. Fits the race, number 8, Rising Empire. So race number 11, pace is between 2 and 3, and who I like best to win. Slightly edge to 2 because of that early speed. And the 3, we don't know what kind of speed it's going to show on turf. It's a dirt horse. Slight edge 2 over 8, but I'm going to use both in multis. I think they can both win. Those are my 2 choices here for race 11. Number 2, Strong Quality at 3-1 for Cassie. And number 8 for Brendan Walsh with Luis Saez. Rising Empire opens at odds of 5-1, race 11. Thanks for everyone for joining us today here for the early analysis and picks of all the races at Fairgrounds card here, or Lecomte Stakes day here at Fairgrounds. We've switched over, make it happen. See the cup, let's make it happen. We've switched over to green tea. We had our fill of coffee earlier. We started recording this at just like 2:30 in the morning. It's after 7 now. And we're through 12 races, folks. And I'm going to talk about this one here. Now, this race, okay, let me just get this up here. This race is the Louisiana. It's a G3, okay? Purse $175,000 for 4-year-olds and up. Mile and a 16th, and we are on the dirt here. And as usual, we look at the pace first, get the pace scenario, who's going to be the front runners and how fast. And then we look at the numbers and the statistics and the trainers and track records and come up with our win contenders, top win contenders in order. So we'll start with the pace here. And there are 7 entries in this race. And number 5 really loves to grab that first call. I think he's gonna be winging it out there. 5-Star General. It does run some quick fractions and has grabbed the lead at the first call. Let's see, 1, 2, 6 out of the last 8 times. Usually finds his way to the front somehow. Finds his way to get out front. So I see 5-Star General is the main speed here, demonstrated anyway, followed by number 7, who is stretching out, has run, though, at a mile here and there. Looks like this is 1 mile and 16th. He's run at 7, a mile, 7, 2 at a mile. Looks like he has the second best early speed as far as numbers go, as fractions go. And so I see number 7. He likes to go to the front. He's went to the front at the first call 3 out of the last 4. So I see Capuna, number 7, maybe duking it out with the 5 on the front end. And that should be an interesting go between those two, because even though 5 likes to get the lead, 7 might beat him to it. So that's kind of interesting. The other one, the 3rd speed, who also likes to go to the front most of the time, went to the front 4 out of the last 5 and didn't in the last race, was 2nd at the first call, but only a half back right there, is Sorty Crown, one of the big chalks in here. And I think this one gets hurt a little bit by that the others can run quicker, have shown that they can run quicker at the mile or over if they have to. Will that frustrate Sorty Crown with Florence Giroux? So that 5, 7, 3, I see are the speeds in that order here. We'll see what happens if 5 and 3 try and really go after the 7, or they let them go a little bit and then, pace themselves. By their running styles, I don't think so, because they go to the front at the first call almost every time, as does the 7. So 5, 7, 3, they look like the pace. What about the win contenders? Who's going to get this done here? Now, I've looked it over. I'm pausing it between races, look it over, analyze it, take my notes, and then give you the analysis and the picks, save you the time not seeing me, watch me weed through all this stuff and looking at the PPs for the first time. Save you that here. and just go straight to the analysis. Like I just gave you the pace. Now I already know the ones I like best to win. Now, the one I landed on who I like best to win is number 2, making his first start as a 5-year-old. Smile Happy from Kenneth McPeak gets McPeak 10% here, 14% overall, 10% here, meaning fairgrounds, and gets the jock, Brian Hernandez Jr. up, 20% jock here, the jockey trainer together, 17%. Now, it's been laid off a while, okay? It's been laid off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 months. Does get Lasix for this, okay? Now, it did win a G2 2 back where it ran really big race at Churchill Downs at today's distance. That one I like. It did run in a G1 at Ellis Park in July, its last race, a G1 where it finished 5th, but only 4 3/4 back, and was it 1 1/8. It was a little bit longer. But this one, and it also has a race that ran really big at Oaklawn at 1 1/8 in March, and March 16th to be exact. The races 2 and 4 back are flat out fast enough to beat any of these in here with a repeat of those. What about the layoff? Over 90 days. McPeak, 12% off the layoff. Let's just double check his work tab. He's had to have worked since January 14th, 5 furlongs, 102, first of 2. And he had 5 furlongs on the 9th, 103, first of 2. He's been running these longer, 1 of 2 here, kind of secret workouts, but working regularly, and some longer, the 5 furlong workouts. But he has a pattern here where he's seems to be running his form cycle. Really fast race, a little slower race. Really fast race, a little slower race. Really fast race, a little slower race. Not terrible, but a little slower from the big race. And today he's due for one of his big ones. And he also has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Smile Happy, the 2, is 3 for 3 at the distance. 1 race at Fairgrounds, a second place finish. Opens at 9 to 5 as the second choice. So that's my top choice here. Number 2, Smile Happy. And my second choice, it's hard to get off the chalk here. A slim chalk opening favorite, 8 to 5, Saudi Crown, early speed type. But I remember I talked to you, I mentioned this, not really the fastest early speed out of the early speed types, but certainly fast enough to get it done and has the class. I mean, won a G1 event, the Pennsylvania Derby at Parks last September, doing a wire job over there with a 108 Brisnet. I mean, last race, though, in November at Santa Anita, ran quick early, but then ran out of gas. Is this going to be the same thing today where he faces other early speeds and gets gassed? Ran faster than he's used to running? I don't know. That was at 1 1/4. But the trainer is Brad Cox, the gaudy winning percentage here, and Florent Giroux. Giroux is going to be riding this one. This is its 7th career start. He's been up aboard for 5 of the 6 starts, winning 3 of them. Lifetime 3 for 6 with 2 seconds. 5 out of 6 in the money, already an $877K earner, making his first start as a 5-year-old. Now, the thing with this one is never has run at Fairgrounds, will get tested on the front end, and has never run at the distance. And the last race, when it was tested early and didn't get to the front, which might be the case today, pressed on, ran very fast opening fractions and faded, finished 10th, 12 back. So what's going to happen? I'm not going to go much further than that. I think it's going to go between 2 and 3. If you wanted to box 2-3 with a long one, who actually has a shot to win, I like 2-3 best, but we're going to dip down to that number 7, who I said has early speed, has Kupana, and opens at a price of 15 to 1 for Brett Calhoun, who's 15% here at Fairgrounds. and 19% going to the start of 2023. And this one's shipping in from Churchill. And Calhoun is 20% with shippers in about 669 races. And gets Gutierrez up at 14%. And this one has runs fast fractions. And at Fairgrounds, 3 races, a win, and a second. And at the distance, has 4 races, 2 wins, and 2 seconds. So at the distance, has never finished worse than second, and has the 4th highest Brisnet rankings, prime power ranking. That's a computer generated number. It's just on the whole body of work, but still, that's kind of impressive. And you're getting a big price, 15-1, and he's going to be part of the speed. We know he can do it at the distance, and you know he's going to be out there, forwardly placed, and doesn't need the lead, though he does go there, a lot of the time. And better early pace numbers, at least so far, in some cases, over the 3. And the 5, again, is another one that shows early pace. Big early pace. I think we're going to have a battle up front, but I think that opens the door possibly for the 2, the 9-5 shot, and the 3. Maybe second. Hang on for second. I don't know. We got to see. That's Cox. So my top choice, number 2, Smile Happy, 9-5. But I'm going to use both 2 and 3 in multi-race plays, and most likely just keep it to those 2. But if I feel in the mood to spreading and something's happening, I might slip the 7 in there. But number 2, Smile Happy, 9-5. And number 3, Sortie Crown, 8-5 with Cox. And number 7 as the interesting bomb, or one to sneak into the exotics, maybe even the exacta, Capuna, at odds of 15-1. All right, we're through 11. And now time for the big race. All right, now for the moment we've been waiting for, the big race, race 13, the final race on the card, the Lecomte Stakes. It's a Kentucky Derby qualifying race worth 20 points to the winner. And we've been out here since 2:30, started recording this show, the handicapping analysis and pick show, covering the entire card from looking at the PPs for the first time. And here you could see the clock here. Where is it? Can you see the face? It's 5-8. So I want to post this video to go live at 9 o'clock. So a lot of people get a chance to see it then, not that it slips under the radar, releasing it too early. And this is one you may want to go back to from the beginning if you missed the beginning, or listen to as you're handicapping the card and pause it, and then let it start playing again as you're working your way through the card. If you're interested in what I have to say and what I have, my picks, and I really like what I've seen here from this card. So this is the prep race, the Lecomte Stakes. It's the only prep race today, and it's so far the biggest one of the year to date, worth 20 points to the winner, which really will give it a leg up to qualify for the Derby. And this is a G3. The purse is $200,000 for 3-year-old colts. And we'll start by looking at the pace. There are not too many entries in here. All right, we got 8 entries scheduled. Axel Concepcion on the number 8. Axel, the apprentice jockey that's doing all his damage over at Turfway Park, and was the leading rider at Laurel. Expect him to collect his award, Eclipse Award, for top apprentice jockey this coming Thursday night at the Eclipse Award. 18-year-old guy winning like crazy. No track record to show here at Fairgrounds that I could see. But from the start of 2023 to the present, this young guy, 19%. And he's actually getting a start for Brad Cox here, of all people, in this race. Wouldn't it be something if he won this race? Let's start by looking at the speed, early speed. What does the pace look like? Now, I can tell you up front that I don't like him, Axel, in his entry in this race. I think he's up against it here. Now, in this race, early speed does look like Track Phantom. Likes to go to the front, all right? But he could have company up front with the number 2, Nash, who has shown speed uh, just as fast or faster than Track Phantom at Churchill, the race 2 back at this distance. So, and he gets the jockey, Florent Giroux, who's ridden at the last 2. So I see this early speed duel between 7-2 and one who I don't see having any chance except trying to interfere with the others. Next level, David Cohen. The numbers are way too slow, but he's been at the lead at the first call the last couple of times. So I don't know. Is he going to be able to mix it up with the other 2? Probably not, but maybe you know how the horses are, right? They try. It's used to going to run to the front, so it runs above its ability. And all it manages to do is maybe take one of the other 2 out, the Nash or Track Phantom. But let's go take a little bit closer look at the numbers now. So we got to see the pace 7-2-1. Those are the pace horses. In that order, I list them. But 7-2, it's a hard call. I think 7 might go to the front. Maybe a slight chance, but 2 might also go to the front. So I'll put a dash between those 2. 7, 2, and then 1. And now in this race, I actually landed on number 2 here. And I co-favorite with the 3. Actually, no. I think Track Phantom gets hurt by this. I know he's the favorite. I actually landed on number 2, Nash, Brad Cox. All right, the last race, he yielded last race, but I'm looking at the race 2 back. I think maybe he bounced off of the race 2 back where he won by 10 1/4 at Churchill. But a repeat of that race, if you can get back to that, and he's only a 3-year-old, so he should have some bounce back ability. I could see this one as a player here. No, I'm not going to say 2, 3. That was I think 2 is probably the one to beat. And my co-choice for this one, that gets Florent Giroux. And my co-choice here is actually ran here for Brad Cox. Now, this is another Cox entry, mind you. Won here by 5 1/4, running wide. Gets Luis Saez now for this. And he got brushed at the start, had trouble, still won handily. And Louis and Cox are 27% together. And we'll go back to the 2 a second. Giroux and Cox are 27%. Maglio D'Oro, the sire of the 2, and the 5, Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo. I think this goes. I'm torn between 2 and 5. Yeah, it's hard to say. I like that the 5 has run here before and won, and I like that the 2 has the really big race 2 back at Churchill and the top jock. I think 2-5. Both of them Cox entries. And number 2, I'll tell you what the odds are on these. Number 2, Nash, is the early speed type, owned by Godolphin and bred by Godolphin. Number 2, Nash, early speed inside. Now, the thing is, number 2 was beaten by Track Phantom when he went off as Nash lost to Track Phantom, the opening favorite from Asmussen last race, but Nash did open as the favorite at 0.5 to 1, less than even money. So if you bet money on that horse, that race, you're going to get 50% of it back. Big favorite. And but I think this one is going to bounce back. And chased. He got stuck running wide. He yielded. All right, but I just want to see, what did 7 go off at that race? Yeah, Track Phantom. He had his nice race there, his moment in the sun. And he won at odds at 4.9 to 1. But I'm not a one that says, oh, he won the last race, or he's going to do it again. or if a horse ran a bad race, oh, he ran a bad race, he's going to run a bad race again. Look at the running lines when you go down. You see horses rebound. And I think this one's going to rebound in a big, big way. And the other one I like, who with all this pace up front, is number 5, Ethan Energy, Brad Cox. So I got two there with Cox, and this one was at the second call, was in 4th, 2 back, was running back, and it's a closing type. I know closers, maybe you don't want a closer at this track, but it fits the bill with the early speed of 7, 2, and 1. So 2 of the favorites, the 2 chalks, both part of the speed duel along with the 1. So that opens the door for 5. And 5 ran a very good race despite running wide. And then by the end, he was 4th at the second call, drew off and won by 5 1/4. And the interesting thing is Florent Giroux, he rode this one the last 2 times, and Cox put him on his 2, Nash, the one that ran really the fastest race of anyone in here, 2 back at Churchill. But he covers his bases with Luis Saez on the 5, opens 4-1. And now we'll go down to the 3rd choice. I got to use, my 3rd choice, but would I use just 2 in this race in a multi-race play? Probably, because I'd probably get a price. And I think both of them on their best, both 2 and 5, beat number 7, Track Phantom, who opens 9-5. But we will talk about him a little bit. Now, he's done 2 wire jobs in a row, and including here where he ran very fast early in that race. Now, question is he going to run fast enough to get it done today? Did that take something out of him? Because he ran unusually fast in that race. And Nash really was not, it's not like he had trouble in there in that race, a little bit of trouble. And it's not like he ran a bad race. He finished 3rd, 3 back in a bounce effort. But he didn't run way out of his earlier running styles than he did before. Whereas the 7, he never exerted as much energy as he did before, according to these pace numbers I'm looking at on Brisnet. And I have free Brisnet PPs, a link to them down below if you need them. I got you covered. Expand the description area. It says show more. Click on that. And you can click on it, get them for here, Fairgrounds, or the other tracks. So I'm thinking I'd use 2 or 5, both the Cox entries, as if I had to go 2 and I don't want to spread 3 deep. Here, 2, 5, I like them best. It's a coin flip between which one gets it done. And number 7 is my 3rd choice. So my 2 top choices, number 2, Nash, 5-2, Godolphin owned and bred. In Cox, number 5, Ethan Energy, Cox and Luis Saez, 4-1. And my 3rd choice, I'm not saying it's going to finish 2-5, and that's the exacta. I could see 7 certainly slipping into the exacta and even maybe winning. But my 3rd one here, as far as getting the win done, is number 7, Track Phantom, Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario. Definitely weaker combinations than the Cox formidable jockey team and Cox himself, and Cox with Godolphin on the 2. So 2 and 5 best, and then 7. A coin flip between 2 and 5 and 7 as my other one there for race 13. So there you have it. We covered every single race. I am going to get this ready, download this video now. The recording is completed. Then I'm going to, set it up, upload it, schedule it for 9 a.m. Hopefully I can get done with all the editing and have it ready to go at 9 a.m. as a premiere. So I want to thank everyone for joining us for this handicapping show here. Handicapping from the get-go. Started at it's just after 8 now, 8:05. And hey, we're set to go. We put the work in. I'm comfortable with this car. I got a good feel for it. You'll see the advantages now, right, of handicapping in advance. You go out there when I see these horses, and I still got to look at it again after the scratches come out. but I'm going to be ready to go. I'm going to recognize all these horses. It's in my memory now. When I see the PPs, when I see the race, oh yeah, that race and this horse, yeah. Now I'll be able to pay more attention to the board and set up plays and be set to go. So here, big day of racing here at Fairgrounds. That Derby Prep race, the Lecomte Stakes. Lecomte Stakes, Derby Prep race 13. So we plan on going live today here, and then we'll see more about this. And good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's been a blast handicapping these races. There may be changes, after the scratches, if I see something else when I'm seeing the horses for the third time. So these aren't written in stone, but it's a hell of a good start going into this card today. Confidence is there. Confidence is flowing. So have a great morning, everybody. Let's, Saturday morning, even if you're not playing the races, have a great weekend. I hope you can join us, though, for Fairgrounds, the card today for a live show. I go live just before 1 o'clock or so and work off of these. I'm prepped. I'm ready to go, man. So have a great morning. Thanks for joining us. And hey, hope to see you later on for some winning races. Fun afternoon at Fairgrounds for this 13 race card.